You're watching Soul Sisters on Pure Soul, powered by Isaac Hayes on Dash Radio.
Started singing gospel, when I was very young, I was about 5, 6 years old in church. And I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And there was a group from Jacksonville called the Bivens Specials. And the lady that started the group, Inez Bivens, she was also a concert promoter.
Okay.
So she used to bring groups in, different acts in, and we would open up. I've even opened up for like Reverend Ike, all that can't lose with the stuff
That's
I use, So that was my start, and I ended up by the time I got 14, my mother made me stop singing with the group, and she said, "We'll buy you instruments and transportation or whatever. You can have your own thing." So I started a group called Glenn Jones and the Modulations from Jacksonville.
At 14?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've been singing on the road, since I was 8, 9 years old. I was on the road opening up for the Mighty Clouds of Joy, Shirley Caesar, Dante Noah.
Hey, come on with them names.
Yeah, I was the lead singer, man. I'm on front, man. Being a almost little preacher, I'm telling my little stories and preaching and shouting and running down the aisle and all of that.
Come on,
That's how it started. So by the time I got 14, I started writing songs, and I met Reverend James Cleveland when I was about 18, and he took me in the studio and signed me to a deal with Savoy Records, and I recorded my first record in L.A. in Ray Charles' studio.
Wow.
And I did a second album after that, second gospel album. And once I did that, I met Norman Connors. He heard my gospel material, and he wanted me to be featured on one of his records. He did an album called Take It to the Limit, and he had gotten this song called Melancholy Fire. And, I was raised in the Pentecostal church, man. I was tripping. I was scared, man. I'm like, man, back in the day, making that transition from gospel to R&B is different now. Yeah. Because back then it was like, you going to hell.
Yeah, a lot of judgment.
Bust hell wide open is what they used to say. But my mother was an evangelist and a missionary, and I sat down and talked to her and my dad, and she was like, look, you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, I know you're gonna do it, decent and in order.
Right.
And that's when I started my R&B career, and I've been going ever since.
Yeah. It's funny how you talk about that transition, because we, when Aretha passed away, I talked about the how she transitioned.
Yes.
And I would think that it would have been like she would have caught hell for it.
Right.
But, it turns out that her dad was the one that kind of ushered in, he gave her blessing immediately. She wanted to be able to do the same thing in R&B that Sam Cooke was doing, and she told her father, and her father actually made it happen.
Well, the difference is that I was raised in a Pentecostal Seventh-day Adventist church.
Okay, so that's a whole nother thing.
As opposed to the Baptist or the Methodist church, So we got a whole nother
it's
set
hardcore.
of another set of rules. I mean, you come to church on Saturday morning, you got on the all white.
Yeah.
And I'm there. My mother was, she was a superintendent of the Sabbath school, so I come in from 9 o'clock that morning until 5 o'clock that evening. I'm in church.
That's it.
You really were doing the all-day church then.
Oh yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, Wednesday night, what we call prayer service or tarry service, and you had Bible study, and then you had, you had all these different, things to go to. But I got a chance to work with Aretha. I ended up doing, some gigs with her where I would do duets and stuff. We played Radio City. We did that, and then we did the Caesar's Palace, and then she used to fly me and my band into Detroit to do her birthday parties.
That's awesome.
And it was just like, she just endorsed me,
Yeah.
And it was a great thing.
That's such a big
because
deal.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
You have a super fan right here. So we're on IG, you guys. So you can go to Official Soul Sisters on IG. But he's like Glenn Jones, my idol. Say hello to Planet 2 Law.
Planet 2 Law?
Yeah, on IG.
What's up, Planet?
Planet. Yeah. But he's P-Funk. He's
Wow.
like, Yeah, he's down with the P-Funk crew.
Great.
And he
Like,
says,
yeah.
because of him and Ollie Woodson, I learned how to transition from my natural to my falsetto because of you.
Don't talk
Isn't
about
that
Ollie
something?
Woodson.
Ollie, man.
Oh, wow.
That was my guy,
Hey,
man.
It hurt so bad
Yeah.
when he was gone, man. Yeah,
Ooh.
Ollie is. Phew.
Man.
How does
Yeah.
it feel to know that young singers look up to you and have learned from you? And
Well, it makes me feel like I've had a purpose in my music, you know, that I've inspired some other people, because when I was coming up, you know, I would listen to Donny Hathaway and Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder and Bobby Womack and all those people.
But
So-
everybody that you name has a gospel foundation.
I know, I can't help it.
Every single person that you just named
I can't help it,
has
you
a
know.
foundation in gospel
Yeah.
music. Yeah, man.
Yeah, they do. You
Yeah.
know? And usually people that are in my band,
Same thing, yeah.
They got that foundation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Remember we did the Christmas show with him
Yeah, at St.
at
James
St.
Live.
James
At
Live,
St.
and he
James
sang
Live.
a gospel song. I was like,
Yeah,
my
that's
mouth was wide open. So
that's
I
my
didn't know
root.
that.
That's my love.
Yeah.
You know, that's my
Oh,
love.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
Like, but you have to see his show. Like,
Yeah,
your
I haven't
show
seen it
is
yet.
it's so great.
Thank you.
It's so great. And, you know, if I'm not mistaken, like, there was a show that you did, because we were using the same band
Right.
for a minute. And two of my vocalists were singing with you. And I remember, if I recall correctly, that the song that you did, the Norman Connor song, y'all actually performed.
Melancholy Fire.
Yeah. Y'all
Yes.
performed that in one of the shows. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I don't think I knew.
We were in Chicago when we did that.
That's right. We were in Chicago when I
Yeah.
opened up for you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
That was, I think that was when I knew about the Norman Connors connection. I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, even when I did that record, like I said, I was a nervous wreck, and Norman had heard my gospel project. And he talked me into flying out to LA, so I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. No, I ain't going to do it. I'm going to do it. No, I ain't going to do it. So I took and rewrote the verses. I rewrote the lyrics to
Okay.
make it a little more middle of the road, so I could be comfortable with it. And once I did it, he liked it.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, Jean Carn worked with me on my vocal production. She actually produced my vocal.
She's so awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow.
she is. Yeah.
Didn't you do a solopedia about
I
her?
did.
Yeah.
I did.
So I have a question. I got questions.
on.
So how can you say something to our viewers and our listeners about how you do stay true to who you are, how you stay true to you as an artist and not conforming to what the industry wants you to do?
Well, you know, I think, you know, when it's not real, I think people know. I think you're not convincing. You know, and you know that's why people like Planet can, you know, hit me up and say, you know, you showed me this or you inspired me to do that. It's because this is all of the stuff that I learned when I was singing gospel. I was around cats like the Dixie Hummingbirds, and these guys were signed to CBS Records and all that stuff back in the day. I've been around some of the greatest singers in the business, and I just I never liked, you know, going into a A&R meeting and some A&R person telling me, well, look, we want a record like such and such. This is the kind of record we want. No, you know, because I am a songwriter and a producer, and I just like I like where I'm at. I like where I'm comfortable, and don't get me wrong, I'm open to learning new things all the time. I mean, most of the people that I've worked with have been a lot of young people. You know, like when I had my deals at Atlantic and RCA and Jive, I gave them a shot because I wanted that fresh and that new thing. You know, but at the same time, you know, you still gotta have your foundation.
Correct.
You gotta know your boundaries. You know where you are.
This is
And-
not me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been told, like, you know, you need to do some records with a little more sex in it and this and that.
What?
I had a record that I did. My first record was with RCA. It was an EP, and the first single I released was a song called "I Am Somebody," and I got Jesse Jackson on there, you know, doing his famous chant.
Yeah.
But I released a record called Keep On Doing, which was a duet with me and my wife, Genovia Jeter Jones. And it was produced by Al McKay from Earth, Wind & Fire.
Right.
And it was smoking, but it was a real positive, uplifting.
I mean, that's
You know.
what you've always, but that's you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Right, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Now
perfect
know what I
match.
trying to
mean?
hear.
Perfect match, you know.
Right,
But
Earth, Wind, and Fire ain't about to sing no songs
Yeah.
about draw panties and things.
hey, and I ain't knocking nobody
I'm
for
just saying,
doing
but
that.
it's not you though.
I
You
ain't
know what I
knocking
mean?
nobody for doing that. That's them.
the
This
draws.
is
The draws.
me, you know. So they was like, look, you gotta put some more sex in it, and you know, like I'm supposed to be touching myself or some old crazy, you know.
Yeah. That's real 90s, though. That's real young 90s.
Young 90s, that's right.
Young 90s.
Yeah,
Was that when it happened?
Yeah, you got to hump the floor and all of that.
All of that. Seriously? That's the bump and grind era.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think, because you were, like you said, you were able to navigate that, and I know a lot of female singers were really unable to navigate that. Like, they want you to take some clothes off. We need to show some skin to sell some records, and they could be an incredible vocalist.
Yeah.
But so what do you think the discrepancy is between male and female as you were able to navigate that and stay true to yourself? But there's some women who really, it's like you either do this or you don't, get released.
There have been times when I've been thankful that I wasn't a female, because I know some of the exploitation that women have been through, and you can see that on a lot of different fronts.
Yeah.
It's a different set of rules for women.
It is.
So, but I think in the end, talent would truly win. I remember Layla Hathaway, when she first came out as a solo artist, it didn't really pop like it should have, because she was an incredible singer.
Oh my God,
But when you look at her now, it's like, she finally got her just due, man, and she's one of my favorites.
It took a long time. It took so long, and I'm so glad she stuck with it, didn't get jaded by it. I mean, but she's always been a favorite on the live circuit. Like, she's going to make her coins. People are going to come out and see her. But like on the record sales thing, she stayed true like the entire time. Like, if you listen to all of her records, her first record is not much different from, I mean, you can feel like the 90s in it, but all of her records feel the same. They're all tied in. Like, she stayed true to herself the whole time. What was it? She had a single with the roller skates, and it was all feel-good music, man.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So from like Heaven and remember Angela Winbush produced, I mean, good God. Like, and so she was able to do that, and you've been able to do the same thing, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just thank God for that, and I think it's about trying to maintain your craft, just being good. It's like a lot of times people will say, well, they won't play old school records, they won't do this, do that. Well, don't come out with no crappy record, for one thing. I mean, be sure about the music that you're going to do. Mm-hmm. If nothing else, if you're just satisfying your base, if you don't get no new people, at least satisfy them. And that's what I've tried to do, and I've been fortunate enough to do it, I guess. Yeah.
That's a great thing.
What would you say to, I guess, because I saw in a video, Tank talked about how he had this huge record, and it's just, Tank still does a little risque stuff, but it's still a lot, but it's still R&B. It's still R&B though. Like, it's still like
absolutely is. Yes,
and he feels like, he's not really getting the support that,
I feel like Tank got more airplay than most R&B artists these days.
I agree.
He made more headway. That may not mean anything because of the digital age that we are in, and the streaming, and the, you just don't get paid off of streams like you do records and all of that stuff. But I feel like, as far as airplay, I don't really know what his record sales are like, but he definitely made more headway than the average
person.
R&B
I think him
artist
and Tyrese
that will come out. But I think that's because he was showing his abs and what he was
Tyrese,
talking about.
Tyrese did good on that record that I think Patti LaBelle was singing on
Shame.
it. Shame.
He did well on Shame.
He did well on Shame. So do you feel like, because to me for a long time, those types of records, it wasn't an abundance of those at all. And I feel like just, good R&B to me is something that, can be played. It's been proven that it will be played on the radio. So how do you feel about, because I know you have some new stuff coming out about the climate now as an R&B singer?
Well, I mean, lately, I've been running into a lot of young people that, they're listening to R&B.
Yeah.
They're loving it. Yeah. I'm like, and I'll ask questions. I start talking to them. I don't care if I get in an Uber or Lyft or something. Driver be playing some R&B. I'm like, so, you into that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man, I love, that's what I do. That's what I listen to. So that's encouraging. And then, you got several veteran artists that have new projects, like a Peebo Bryson or a Shaka Khan or a Freddie Jackson or I can't think of my man's name right now, but there are several artists that have stepped up to re-emerge.
Yes.
And like sitting here, like my wife turned me on to this record that I love, It's a Tony Braxton record.
Yes.
Tony.
Long as I
The
live.
new one? Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
my God.
I can't take that song.
Yeah,
That song is dope.
I love this.
That's a dope
If you're
song.
listening to Tony, that's my favorite
That's
song,
it.
man.
Yeah.
I'm probably burnt out because I have listened to it back to
That's
back
an
to back to
awesome
back.
song.
It's great, but it's encouraging because you realize.
Yeah.
I mean, they will have you believe that R&B is a lost
over.
art and nobody's buying it. And I just think that it's like you said, there's a base
Yeah.
for it, and play to your base and you'll be
Yeah,
fine. You
you'll
will
be
have
all
an
right.
audience every single time.
make a
Like, don't
living?
try to be something. You will make a living.
Yes.
Speaking of
Yeah.
making a living, and
Yeah.
and just today, like what you're doing, you have a new song out with Regina Bell.
Yes.
How did that come about?
A friend of mine, and actually we've never laid eyes on each other. We just communicated through emails and texts and all that, maybe talked on the phone a couple of times. His name is James Day, and he's from Connecticut, and he's a great songwriter, and he's into this independent record thing. He puts out records all the time.
Love
It's
it.
like he's like the Quincy Jones of,
Yeah.
he's worked with Layla. He's done, a couple of records with her. And he sent me the song and wanted to know, was I interested in doing it? And when I heard it, I said, man, it sounds just like Regina.
Yeah.
So I sent it to her. She was like, yeah,
She was on it.
do it. Yeah. And she killed it, and I'm not talking about she's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, and we sending files back
Right.
and forth. We went in the studio and we're there. you
Yeah,
know.
the chemistry.
And the
it matters.
chemistry just came. It's a great record. And I heard you guys talking earlier about, defining marriage and relationships and all of that. The name of this song is Love by Design. Let's make love by design. And that means that, we make our own rules.
Yeah.
This is we design it. There's no judgment,
Correct.
no boundaries and nothing like that. So Regina did the record, and it went number one on the smooth jazz vocal Billboard chart.
That's great.
So in these days and times, man, it's hard to get a record, really.
It is.
First of all, you struggle through, people don't know, a lot of artists don't have new records because you got to have money to even record
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
And after you record it, then the work really, truly begins, because now you got to have money to market the record.
And you got to have people who know how to market it
And know how, that's right.
today.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Today
Yeah.
knows how to market it today. So,
And not just put it on SoundCloud.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
but SoundCloud
did I
by
say
itself,
that?
like nobody knows it. You have to hire people or have people, have interns, have a team of people
Yeah.
that know what to do with it and
Exactly.
and know your audience, how to
Exactly.
reach your audience. Because a lot
Right.
of when you talk about old school R&B, and I hate the term,
I
I'm
know.
sorry, but old school R&B, they just don't. You don't. A lot of them are on Facebook.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But they might not be on Instagram. People on Instagram are not necessarily on Twitter. So you got to be able to have somebody that knows how to target your particular audience. And so, we're going to go out. We're going to listen to the record. It's time to listen
Is
to
it
the
time?
record. Yeah.
All right.
Can we do that?
Yeah, let's listen to the
we
record.
definitely gonna do that.
Okay.
One more time.
right.
What's the name of the record?
Love by Design.
Yeah.
That's right. Love by Design by Glenn Jones. We're back. This is Soul Sisters on Pure Soul on Dash Radio. Man, that was good.
Thank you.
I was groovy.
Man, that thing feels good.
right. Right.
You know what's wild is that the guy, James Day, that wrote it, he's hearing impaired. But he writes great music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible writer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you said how y'all came together and actually did it, because so much music is made by just sharing files.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate
You
that.
shaking your head
I
like
hate that. I hate that. You need to be, together to get the chemistry and the vibe. And, and that's where, the spontaneity comes in.
Right.
Things that maybe you would normally do. Somebody in the room might say, well, look, why don't you try this? Do that lick like this. Or, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a great feeling to work directly with somebody.
The young artists don't know what you're talking about. Younger.
No.
I mean, some of them do
Man.
because they work differently, but I think that's real important, because then you get beautiful music like we just heard.
Well, I come from the day, when everybody had a job. It's like back in the day, when you had the major labels, you had a songwriter, you had a producer, you had an arranger. So someone came in and arranged the strings,
Yes.
did the horn arrangements. You got the right bass player, not somebody,
Right.
subbing as a bass player.
Right.
You got the cat that played on all the hit records,
Correct.
to play bass and play guitar. It was an amazing experience, man.
Everyone came in and did what they do best.
What they do best.
Yeah. It wasn't one person trying to do the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just punching music. Like now, it's just so, it's like you said, so much stuff is digitally done. It's sent, you know, a person's in Cali and a person's on the West Coast or on the East Coast, and then they send in files that there's really no chemistry,
Right.
you know, and there's something to be said about being there with the person.
Yeah, it
You know
makes
what
it
I'm
more
saying?
personal.
It is.
Yeah, it's more
it is,
personal.
and there's something that happens in the room, like you
That
know
magic.
when that
magic
really
happens.
is, and I'm glad. It's just so good to know that like people are still recording that way. You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel it, and your stuff. You're not punching every line.
No.
You're not punching every line, man.
No, man.
So that's when you got real singers in the house. You know what I mean?
Instead of comping the vocals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me what you got coming up, so our viewers gonna be able to see you and listen to this good music
Okay.
live.
Well, they can see me on November the 18th at the City Winery.
Nice.
Okay.
Here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Here in Atlanta.
Yes, here in
Nice.
Atlanta.
Oh wow. Okay.
I played in September, and you know they loved it so much. They said, you know, backed by popular demand. So I'm gonna go back and
All
do
right.
another hit.
Okay.
You know, and I've got a nonprofit organization called the Love Jones Foundation, and we go into some of these facilities like the senior citizen facilities.
Nice.
And I take my little rhythm section in there.
Yeah.
And I just love on them. You know, I give them gifts, and I play from Frank Sinatra to Nat King
that's
Cole
so
to Andre
great.
Crouch. You know, and it's an amazing thing just to see the reaction. And we refer to them as the forgotten seniors.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what it's about, you know, giving something back. And I enjoy that. So I'm doing an event on September the 4th. My agent told me the location. I can't think right now.
It's all right. You got a website or somewhere they can
December.
kind of go and check, or some place that they can kind of check out your dates coming up.
They can go, GlennJonesMusic.com.
Nice.
They can go to that, yeah. And I believe the foundation is information at lovejones.org.
Nice.
What's your
it is.
social media so they can find
My
you
social
on?
media is, for Twitter, it's Real Glenn Jones. IG is Real Glenn Jones. And I'm on Facebook. And as I said, you know, my website, GlennJonesMusic.com.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So basically, so you have any special things coming up during the holidays? I know what you're talking when you're talking about going to these senior citizen homes and just kind of loving on them a little bit. That's really, I'm sure, extra special during the holidays.
Yeah, I like that. That's
You know
like,
what I mean?
That's
Like,
music
it's just
therapy.
so good.
That's,
It is.
It's music therapy. That's what we do.
Yes.
And we work with I work with the Boys and Girls Clubs. You know, going in with the kids. You know, doing presentations, doing you know, workshops and stuff. You know, PowerPoint presentations, just teaching them the history of music, the different formats. You know. A lot of kids don't know what a 8-track is.
Right.
They don't know what
A
a
cassette
LP,
is.
a cassette, or any of that. So
Yeah.
we go in and teach them all that kind of stuff. And we're raising money to supply instruments and stuff because a lot of kids are musically inclined, but they don't have access to the things that they need to pursue that.
Yeah.
You know, and I was lucky when I was coming up. You know, my father bought me a guitar and all that stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people just can't afford it.
That's-
You know,
yeah,
they don't.
exactly.
They can't afford instruments. Instruments are expensive to rent.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
and
know
the
what I mean?
The schools have taken a lot of the music out.
Yeah.
You know,
And so even like, you know, when you have to go and rent them, like they're expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no
they're
doubt.
real expensive.
They are.
Forget
They're
buying.
expensive. So you really have to like, it's a monthly bill that you have to just include in with the food and everything else for the
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Really, because like but you have to make an effort to kind of instill that in your kids. And unfortunately, when you're talking about younger mothers, they don't understand. Like they never got what we got, so they don't know what they're missing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's tied with, you know, your self-image, you know, your self-esteem, you know, and I think that I'm sitting here today because of, you know, having the talent that I was born with, and then my family and my mother, you know, pushing me and just backing me and helping me to realize some of my dreams, my goals.
That's such a great
It's
thing.
interesting you said that. We have founded James Brown Family Foundation, and part of what we did was start Jam. And it's about young kids. And these kids, a lot of them have never touched an instrument before, and they come out playing 3, 4, or 5 instruments. And so just recently we were, I was down with my sister in Augusta, and that was one of the things she said. She said it's more than just the music.
Yeah.
We're here mentoring and pouring love into these kids because a lot of them, like this one kid, he can't because of his schedule. He can't come to the normal, after school when we normally have it, and so he only can come on Saturdays. And he's like, "Can I come before school?"
Yeah,
that's the way it
That's
is
great.
because, like you said, they've taken it out of the schools, and it helps them in so many other areas, in their other academic areas, and just in their self-esteem and everything that they got
discipline,
going on.
Man, it gives you discipline.
I think it also
that.
affects, though, like when you look at the future of music, when you look at people, like you said, being able to play instruments and actually create good music and having great songwriters, because some of these kids, I have a friend who plays the organ for the Hawks. And so he knows how to play all the hip hop stuff or whatever. It was a young girl sitting beside him, and she was like, "You're making that noise with that?"
Yeah.
And he kind of looked
didn't
like
have an idea.
Didn't have it. He was in shock, and he's young. He's not even, but he teaches piano to younger kids. But he was like, she really did not believe that the keyboard made the sound that she was
just
hearing.
didn't understand it.
She didn't understand it, and so. This is why I feel like when you have great songwriters, some of the people that you've named, that's going to affect us in years to come because some of these kids have never even seen an instrument.
But this crazy part, these are our kids. These are kids in our community because the music in school is not discontinued in all schools.
Yes.
No.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when they cut back in our neighborhoods, they cut. That's what they're cutting back on. So when you look at the future of music,
it just affects
it's
us.
not really coming from us.
Yeah.
And when you look 20 years from now, the music is not going to be coming from us. I mean, we got Pro Tools, but they don't know how. I feel like it's always 360.
Yeah.
So when it comes back around to real instruments, we're going to be missing out because we don't know.
You don't have it in the schools. They can't afford it. Like all
Unless
that
you're
stuff.
like a musician's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they need to
Right.
be composers and writers
Correct.
and all of that.
Because that's where the money is.
Yeah, that's where the money is, and it's not just about knowing how to get on an MPC and program
And make a beat and make a loop.
Yeah, but what
Right.
goes on top of that?
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Can you tell me what you're playing?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what it is? So that's very important.
How
Yeah,
do you
it's a
go
huge
about
deal.
when you were, since you are a writer and you wanted to say, I want to record an album, how do you go about finding producers and musicians and writers to work with in this particular day and time?
Well, it used to be a lot easier back in the day, with the major label. And the word is out that Glenn Jones is working on a new record. So everybody is kind of,
Right.
But
got
do you
that
even
big
receive
budget.
the quality that would be up to par to what you would want to write to and sing to?
Of course, and a lot of the writers that I did meet, we collabed, they would bring their tracks and stuff and let me check it out. And I always had a vision for my records.
Right.
And I'm not the kind of guy that's hands off, that's going to let somebody just do what they want to do. So I would pick and choose the people that I felt a vibe with and the songs and the tracks that they had, and I would take it and kind of shape it the way I wanted it to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you something, and I want to, when you do these events for the senior citizen homes and I would love for Soul Sisters to tag along to some of those. So if there's ever an opportunity where we can just kind of come and join you,
Y'all ain't said nothing
you know
but
what I
a
mean?
word.
Like,
But let me be clear.
We just all have-
They got the singing background.
we don't have. That was
Yeah,
what I was
we gonna
about
get
to
you the
get to.
dance.
Yeah, I
You
was
do the
gonna-
James Brown or
I'll
something,
dance.
Trust me, I was gonna make that clear.
Yeah.
But I mean, we all have different skill sets, and we all have something come to the table. With her being a doctor, and her being a singer, I'm a singer. She's also trained in dance, and like we all, I'm a vocal coach, I'm a life coach. I just think we have so much. That I was like, I slipped that one in. Yes, I am certified. But we have so much to bring to the table, and
man.
there's so many ways to give back, but we don't know everything that's going on. So if there's ever something that you're offered and maybe not available to do, something that you are doing, we would love to just tag along.
Especially because I
And-
think all of our parents have definitely done that, giving back and instruments and teaching and
You
all the
gonna
types
do
of
more
things.
to tag. You gonna get tired of me.
Let's do it.
man. I'm
Let's
telling
do
you.
it. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that inspired me about this, the new place we're going to do on the 4th, is that I have a friend that's in there, and a lot of times people think that you have to be of a certain age to be in a nursing home. That's not true.
Not at all.
No.
It's all about the health. And
Yeah.
my friend Bernard Bell is one of the
Oh my God.
awesome guy. He's
It's
the guy
Regina's brother.
He co-wrote "Remember the Time" for Michael Jackson, and he wrote stuff with Teddy Riley, and he and I we wrote "I've Been Searching" together, and You, and all that good stuff. And Bernard has been, he's been ill for a while, and he's there, and I've been to visit him, and we laugh and talk. So I've been working. I hope he's not listening to the radio, because I've been trying to hook up this event so he won't know, because I'm like, man, do y'all know who this guy
Right,
is?
If y'all know Bernard, don't tag him in the
don't
interview.
tag him, please.
Don't tell.
Don't let him know. Don't let him know.
Don't tell.
I'm sorry, I'm telling on
when
myself.
I tell you, I love some
telling
Bernard.
him.
Bernard produced
Awesome.
a remake of the Staple Singers' "Respect Yourself"
Yeah.
from me when I was with Sony.
Yes.
And we did it. He had the studio in his house in
Yes,
Jersey.
in Jersey, yeah.
And we did it, and it was so killing. Like, I keep telling him, like, please find it. Like, I mean, because Bernard knew. First of all, he didn't try to produce anybody that he felt like that couldn't identify with what he was doing.
know. Yeah.
And he's very, very specific. So I can see you two musically married is incredible. But he taught me so much in that one session that we did, and we've been great ever since.
Man,
you know what I mean?
This guy, he was one of those guys that you'd be like, man, I can't stand you because you play everything.
I
You
mean,
play
he's
keys,
incredible.
You play guitar, you play drums, you play bass. His vocals, he cut background
Everything.
vocals. Yeah, he cut some vocals on my record. I did a song called "Call Me." Oh man, and I went in to cut my stems to reproduce the record. I still can't get those harmonies like he had.
Right.
Yeah, man, but. He's awesome. He's awesome,
is.
and he's still in a good frame of mind. He's humorous. He's still crazy,
And he's always right.
Yeah, he's crazy now.
Yeah,
he's crazy.
He's crazy. He's great though. He's a good crazy.
I love
But
it. I love
we
it,
love
man.
Bernard. We love you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
so,
having
so
me,
much
man.
for being
Thank you.
here. Yes. So we're going to go out with "I've Been Searching" by Glenn Jones.
And Bernard Bell.
And Bernard.
There it is.
Yeah.
You're watching Soul Sisters on Pure Soul, powered by Isaac Hayes on Dash Radio.